Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing about faces and practicing facial expressions. Let's get to it. Whenever I see a person in real life, a person in an illustration, or perhaps someone in a movie, the first thing that I tend to focus on is the face. This may or may not be true, but for me, I feel the face can communicate so much personality of a character. It is part of the human body that we can relate to the most and usually is our first reference point for our eyes. In character design, a lot of artists tend to start off by creating a face of a character and then develop the rest of the character around it. We're going to be focusing on facial expressions with characters in the next episode. For now, let's just focus on the face. So here's a basic head, and I'm going to be breaking down the key features we need to focus on. The eyes, the mouth, the nose, and the eyebrows. Personally, I find the ears not too important as it does not help clarify the important aspects when designing, at least not for creating expressive faces. However, people do have ears, so don't neglect them. They play a similar role to noses, which I will be discussing shortly. Let's start with the eyes. Here I've drawn some sets of eyes and try to make sure that each pair evoked a certain emotion or feeling. Try to guess the expressions. Eyes are really the key to expressing a wide variety of emotions, so it's important to get them right. Even if it's not detailed, it should suggest the implied feeling that you're trying to communicate. A lot of people tend to forget that the eyebrows are just as important as the eyes. They sort of work together with each other. If used correctly, you can communicate certain ideas with higher clarity. Look at how I'm drawing the eyebrows for each set of eyes. Noses can be the easiest of the batch of facial features if understood correctly. A nose can come in a variety of different shapes and sizes. They can not only help at illustrating personality, but also help create a distinction amongst characters. For noses, I break it down into 3 circles, 1 big circle in the middle, and 2 small circles for the nostrils. That helps create a base to construct a nose. Moving on to mouths, this can be tricky as it's usually difficult to pull off. A common mistake made for drawing a mouth is by making it flat. This is achieved by using straight lines, but we don't want that. The mouth follows the head angle and facial volumes. This gives the mouth an overall curve. When drawing the mouth, it's important to imply this curvature. You can do this by stretching and squashing the lips, making it follow the tilt of the head, emphasizing the corners, and adjusting the teeth. When creating mouth shapes, I use the corners of the mouth as landmarks, while the connecting lines can be shaped in whatever way from corner to corner. Once again, try to avoid straight lines when you can when drawing a mouth. I'm now filling up the page with facial expressions, only focusing on those key features which I mentioned earlier. Before I wrap this video, a lot of people might be asking about proportions. Understanding facial proportions is an important skill to develop because it's easy to get uncanny with creating faces. Honestly, the best way to really identify where everything fits on the face is by looking at your own face or faces you see outside or in a magazine or on the web. You have tons of resources to just look at when referencing. We always refer to the idea of stepping back whenever you create something, and that is true for this exercise. When you draw a face, reflect on the drawing and see if the face looks right. You might find that the eyes are too far apart, the nose is too big, or perhaps the lips are too thin and far from the nose. Sometimes these things can even be considered happy accidents and could help you develop your own style. If you see these as mistakes and understand why they are wrong, then you're making progress because in your next drawing, you'll keep that mistake in mind and not make it again. Give this exercise a try. I'm filling up the page with as many faces as I can without causing too much clutter, but I highly recommend you fill the page as much as possible. I wanted to talk about expressions in this episode because I'm excited about the next week's episode where we will jump into character design exercises using silhouettes, gesture drawing, and expressions. Hope to see you next week. Until then, bye bye.